Isometric sketching, non-isometric lines. Hi, this is Mr. D. This is the second video following an isometric sketching isometric lines video I presented already, which we covered isometric projection theory and axis and faces and isometric lines. Here's a review. I asked people to draw single sticks straight up and down, vertical sticks until they are comfortable, and then we went to the letter Y, which one line is up and to the right at 30 degrees, the other line is up and to the left at 30 degrees. We went from the axis to cubes, and then we stretched the cubes to make them taller, wider, and have more depth. Here are a couple cubes with non-isometric planes on them. To do non-isometric lines, you got to plot endpoints. So I drew the cubes, plotted some points, connected the points, and cleaned it up. There's a little sliding board down and to the right. Second figure here is a sliding board down and to the left. Draw the cube, plot the points, darken in. The last cube, I put points to cut off the front corner of the isometric. There's no reason to make these details down and to the back. You're just hiding good details. Okay. I also suggested yesterday that isometric drawings use 100% measurements. So these bottom figures, I came and measured along an isometric axis and plotted points and connected the lines. And if you needed to do this with some dimensions, you could dimension along those isometric axes. Those are drawn true size. In this video we'll start to sketch faster and faster, but you can practice whatever figures you wish to practice. This last figure, I've dropped 4 points down from the top of the cube and connected them to non-isometric lines, 2 isometric lines. Here's some practice of isometric letters, the N shape. Draw in your cube, plot your points, connect your lines. That can all be done in construction lines with a very light pencil like 6H. And once the construction lines are in place, use your finish lines. You can do that with an HB lead. Notice there's no hidden lines in isometric drawings. We don't add hidden lines unless they enhance the communications, make it a little easier to understand. The bottom of the page I did M shapes. When you do the M shape, you got to consider your box and how big the letter M is and how big your box should be. I made all of these letters standing up and to the right, but you could just as easily make them come down and to the right or lay down like they're like laying on a table. And the rest of this video is just practice letters, and it starts to sketch a little faster. I went on to the next page, which were the V shapes. The V shape might be a little bit easier than this M shape. As I practice these, my hand gets tired and I have to take breaks, so you might want to take a break and get back to this later in the day. The more smaller portions that you practice, the better it is for you. Box it in. Locate your points, connect your lines, darken it in, clean it up. Neither of those branches of the V are on an isometric line. Those are non-isometric lines. The next shape I did was the A shape. That looks like an upside down V shape. Draw the box lightly. Locate the points you need. Darken it in. I noticed on both of my A shapes I've made a mistake. If you look inside the triangle of the A, I forgot some lines in there. Darken and clean them up. I'm by no means an artist. I learned to do this sort of isometric sketching and technical drawing class, but it's come to be a very useful skill. I've been practicing it all my life. I'm not that great at it, but it's wonderful to use when I need to. This page has X shapes and K shapes. When I did the X shape, I brought the tops of the X in from the isometric box a little bit, made the top of the X a little smaller, the base of the X a little bigger, and it gave the X shape some balance. The same with the K shape. The K is a hard letter to draw. You might want to look at a K online just to give you an idea, but the top right portion of the K is a little bit smaller, the bottom right portion of the K is a little bigger to give the letter some balance. And we can practice realistic parts after you've practiced these letters. The reason I practice the letters is because people are already familiar with the letters and you can concentrate on the isometric techniques. The last page here we did a Y shape and a Z shape. So those are the letters N and M, V and A, X and K, Y and Z. And those practice non-isometric lines. And the last thing that we'll do on the next video, or the next thing we'll do on the next video, are isometric circles. They appear as isometric ellipses. So get ready with your pen and pencil, and we'll do some curves next time. Thank you.